Hi everybody! It's a bit of an impromptu, kind of unplanned video today, which is probably par for the course for me, but more so today than usual. As my theme for the month is working on my works in progress, my WIPs, and trying to reduce that pile a little bit. I was flipping through my works in progress just now and looking to choose one to be actually working on today while I have a couple hours spare, and this is the one that was actually speaking to me, which is very unusual, as you'll see in a second. I do have a little bit of an idea of how I may want to go ahead and try and save, shall we say, this picture and make it into something that I would like to colour, cover up the bits I don't like, all that kind of stuff. And if I can pull this off and get this idea working, how I want to actually finish this picture off, then I thought you guys might like to see the process, how I went about it, how I thought things out. It might be a little bit of an interesting kind of entertainment sort of video today rather than a tutorial or a colour along or anything like that. So without further ado, I'll show you the picture that I do want to be working on today. And it is this one here. This is the White Queen. And as you can see there, she's looking a bit pastel-y. I was using, if I remember rightly, I was using these pencils here. And these are pastel colours. They're normal colour pencils, just pastel colours. And I managed to pick them up in the sale. No, they've taken the price off, but they were in the sale, in the back to school sale in Tesco's, the supermarket here in the UK. I picked those up in the sale for like £1 and I wanted to try them out. And this is the picture I picked to try them out on. And I was just using those colours. You can see the colours are pretty faded there, really pale colours. They're not the most pigmented pencils in the world anyways, and pastel colours are really not my thing. So this one kind of got put to the side, even though I went ahead and did lots of glitter on that dress there. I'm not sure if we can get that glittering, but there is a lot of glitter, Dovecraft glitter glue on that dress there that I used to try and get myself into the mood to be finishing it off. I did try colouring one of the flowers. I really wasn't happy with how that was looking. Those pinks are really pale and I usually like more bolder colours on my flowers and bolder colours in general, to be honest. I have gone ahead this morning while I was thinking of how I wanted to finish this picture off, and I've coloured a bit of gold on the fans here and on her crown just while I was thinking. But the way I decided to tackle thinking up an idea of how to switch this up was to figure out why it was a work in progress, why it got put away to the side, which is obviously the pastel colours. The subject matter itself is fine, the lady, little portrait lady in the middle there, that's fine. And obviously she's called the White Queen, but she doesn't have to stay a White Queen. And also the flowers, because I'm not much of a one for colouring flowers or repetitive patterns, things like that. So this many flowers, yeah, that was really putting me off colouring the page. So the colours and all those flowers in the background was what was putting me off. So I figured the way to change that is to change up the colours. I can leave the dress as it is because I quite like the way these, I'm not sure if it is picking up on the camera, but there is a purple and kind of a tealy blue there in that dress and a little bit of creamy yellow, making that sort of look iridescent. And I quite liked the way that was actually looking, so I thought I'd keep that as is. And I was looking through my kind of craft stash at all the collage papers that I have, and I found this book of scrapbooking paper, which I think I got from the Range that's here in the UK. This is floral or flowers noir, and it's a lot of kind of black and white patterns of flowers, and I thought maybe I could bring that in. That might be quite interesting, and try and finish off the picture in kind of a Gothic kind of style. It might not end up that way, but going into that Gothic style I thought might be quite good. And in that book of papers I found this one, this print of kind of black and white roses. And as I was looking at it, I could see kind of a circular shape here in the flowers, if that's making sense. And I've traced around the outside of that kind of circular shape you can see there. I've traced around that with a gold Sharpie. And I figured instead of colouring in all these roses that we do actually have along the edge of the page there, I could cover it with a bit of collage and cut out a frame in the middle to have my little lady coming through. I could cut around the top of her crown so that would lay on top of my collage frame. I could cut out her arm and have that coming down outside the frame. And I thought for the actual fans, I could use another pattern from the book. I haven't exactly chosen one yet, but one that was more predominantly white. Bring that in. So I'm sticking with the colours of black and white. I haven't quite decided what colour hair to be giving this lady yet, but I was toying with the idea of giving her black hair and bringing in a nice dark red, maybe with alcohol marker for this background here. to have the nice deep dark red, maybe give a black hair and black lips maybe, and then bring in the black and white patterns for these fans and see how well we're going with that. That is the main idea I want to play with. Maybe bring in a few more of these kind of crystal gems I've got going on here, see how we're looking with that, because she still will be the white queen with the white dress and the white kind of diamonds with the mainly white pattern on the fan. So I'm thinking that I might be able to make that idea work. But I'm thinking the first order of things to be doing is to cut out this frame so that you guys can better see what I actually mean with that for a start. And to see how much background would actually be showing through there, how far I have to go with my red marker there. And I've just noticed the mistake I've made there. I'm going to have to bring that frame out around there a little bit, but that's no biggie because this part in the middle will be cutting out, so I'll just bring the frame out here a little bit and hide that little bit of a boo-boo we've made there. So yeah, I'm going to cut out that frame with my craft knife and the cutting board here, and then I'll get back to you again. There we go, I have gone ahead and I've cut out that frame shape from the middle there, so hopefully you guys might be able to get a better idea of what I actually meant. I'm going to be overlaying that over the background. I might need to go around and touch up a few of these edges here, back with my gold Sharpie again. The paper was really tough to cut, so I ended up giving up on the craft knife and I went in with the little scissors here and ended up snipping the rest of this border here. I'll have to bring this over a tiny bit more to try and cover up most of that kind of roses border we have going on there. There's a little bit of rose poking out there inside our frame, but this part of the fan is going to be covered with another pattern from the book of the black and white flowers, so I think that will work actually quite well. And what I was thinking was to cut around the outside of her head there, her crown and her hair maybe up to here, so this rose can maybe slip behind her hair there. Sorry, a little bit of an interruption there as I had to dash off and feed the cat quickly. But as I was saying, hopefully this will turn out at least okay, if not as well as I see it turning out in my head. So I'm going to go ahead now, first of all, and work on this background here behind Our Lady, because my plan is to colour it with a deep dark red. I have one called Old Red and I want to use that for the background, I was thinking, see how that looks. And I want to dab that with the hand sanitizer gel, this gel here, to give a nice bit of texture in the background, a little bit of interest there, maybe make it look like old leather or maybe velvet, something that might actually be a backing to a portrait. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I have slipped some scrap paper here behind my lady, and I'm just going to go ahead and colour all this with the red marker. So this is the marker that I'm going to be using here. A little bit of leakage happening there, but not to worry. This is the Yahoo marker, and that is called R7 Old Red. I'm going to go ahead and add this in the background, and this is a pretty bold choice here, so yeah, I'm really hoping we can make this work. I was thinking of giving her white hair, but then once I decided on doing this Old Red as a background, marker background here, it would have been really hard to go on top of that with the white gel pen to outline her hair, so I'm keeping her hair to black, which will contrast with her dress and hopefully work in with all the rest of the background I'm going to have going on, fingers crossed. We want to do at least enough to be sure that everything inside that frame, once we've gone ahead and stuck that on, everything inside the frame is going to be having this red background. I've just switched over to chisel tip there, and I'm going over these roses in the background because I'm not too bothered about those. I'm going to be covering those up. I can't remember how far the border was coming over here, but we can always touch it up if I've misjudged there. The frame we won't be sticking on until right at the end, once we've finished all of our colouring, so we can actually cut around the edges of our kind of lady, around her crown, around this hair that we want to be coming over the edge of the frame. And let's see how well we've done. How far down are we? Right there. Oh, I've missed a tiny little bit there. I'll just go ahead and fill that in. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Let's just check again. Yep, everything we want to be red is actually red there, so I'm quite happy with that. I'm just going to go ahead and dab on some hand sanitizer gel now. I'm just going to use this lid as a little bit of a palette there. Put down some of this hand gel. Is that on camera? I'm not sure. I'm using a lid as a palette there. I've dropped on a little bit of the hand sanitizer gel. And I've balled up a piece of kitchen roll here, just normal kitchen roll out of the kitchen. And I'm going to dab that into the hand gel. Kind of get rid of a lot of the excess and just add in a little bit of texture here into that red. So it shows I have to be a tad more careful here because it will take colour from the marker and put it onto a dress. I don't really want to go over onto her hair too much. I have found in the past that if you do this and then try and go over again with a marker over the top, then the marker will resist and it won't stick to where you have actually put the hand gel down. Okay, let's see what we've got happening there once that's all dried off. And while we're waiting for that to dry, I'll go ahead and actually colour her hair. So for her hair, I'm going to base it with a cool grey. This one is called CG5, Cool Grey 5. Okay, I've gone ahead and started shading her hair there. Just the way that I would normally shade black hair. I've brought in the black polychromos. I have a cool grey from Castle Arts Gold. And for the blue, I've just got this random Crayola blue that I've just brought in to bring a little touch of blue into this hair to maybe tie into a dress a little bit, which is white, but it has a lot of that blue kind of predominating there. I've also tried with the white gel pen to cover up this bleed through of the red there onto the back of her dress. Not quite succeeded, but I'm sure that once we finish the actual picture, that's not going to be totally noticeable. For these little circle dots in her hair there, I thought I'd bring in some more of the crystal gems. Those are on camera, the crystal gems of her bracelet there. I thought I would bring in a few more onto her hair to again trying to reinforce the idea she's the white queen. There we go, hopefully those are about the right size. Yeah, those are fine, I think. There we go, so I'll carry on popping those in throughout her hair. And just go ahead and shade this the way I would normally shade black hair, I think. I kept the marker base of her hair more towards the grey because I think bringing in the dark blue might have been a bit too much with the red there. Bit too much colour coming in. We already have the very pale tones in her dress, very pastel tones that actually made this into a work in progress that got put away for a while in the first place. I don't really want to bring in too much colour. I want to stick to black, white and red mainly. But playing it by ear, as I normally do, just playing it by ear, seeing what happens. At least whatever happens, this picture will be finished, which is a good thing. It's been hanging around in the work in progress pile for quite a while because of those pastel colours. And yeah, for this one, I decided to go more towards the black and white, more gothic, darker colours rather than the brighter colours, which the last one that I did also started off as more of a pastel-y, sort of fairy picture, and I took that one more towards the brighter side of colours, which worked in that case. But in this case, I'm thinking that these black roses might kind of reinforce that kind of gothic style that I thought maybe we could go for, while still keeping her as a white queen. Okay, again, to save this video becoming super long and dragging on forever to edit and being a bit boring for you guys to watch, I'll skip ahead to where I've actually finished her hair and we'll see how we're getting on. I'm just finishing up on her hair now, adding a few of these white gel pen highlights that I do like to do. I haven't gone into too much detail, I've kept it pretty simple with the shading there. The head and the hair itself is kind of a lot smaller than I usually do my kind of portrait style images, so I'm trying not to overshade or put in too many colours. And plus, to be honest, I want to go ahead and get onto the collage part because I do love collage and sticking in the scrapbook paper and seeing how it can transform the page. This part of her hair, I'm having my light coming from the left, so this part of her hair would be kind of shiny. I might have gone a little bit overboard with my highlights there, I think, but yeah, there we go. That's just our last little crystal. I'll add a little bit of blue to this piece of hair here, kind of flyaway piece. And I'll just point out while I am over here, especially on this side of the page, hopefully it's picking up on camera the texture we've got going on after dabbing on that hand sanitizer gel onto the alcohol marker, because it does have the high content of alcohol, so it does dilute the colour. Unfortunately, it does make it bleed through quite a lot, but alcohol marker does do that anyways. So yeah, not really too much of a surprise. I'll just stick on these couple of crystals here that I missed. There we go, something like that. And you will see there's a row here leading on up into her crown, but I'm leaving that for now because I haven't quite figured out what to do this part of the crown, how to do that. And these ones on the very edge of the crown itself, I'm going to stick on after we've cut out the crown and stuck on our frame there in the background. For her lips, I was thinking of sticking with this kind of gothic black and white sort of theme and giving her black lipstick, which is, yeah, a little bit daring, I suppose. But yeah, I'm going to go with it. Be a little bit bold. Give her the black, gothic black lipstick. That was the black polychromos. This is the cool grey. There we go, we got the black lips going on there. That's cool. Okay, got what shine lines. I think we're good. Yeah, I like that. That's looking really fun. And now I think it is actually time to move on to the collage, which I'm excited for. I've been looking forward to this part. First of all, before I do any of the cutting or sticking on of our frame or anything like that, I'm going to add some black and white paper here, if I'm on camera hopefully, some black and white paper here over these parts of the fans, and then the frame will be stuck over the top of those fans. This one I might actually cut out so it comes over the top of the frame, and just kind of the frame will slot in underneath that. Just to mention, yeah, I did colour her little hair tie there and made that white. Anything else I've done before I move on? Oh, the gems on the crown there. I just coloured those with the black pencil, added some white gel pen highlights. The gold, I will go ahead and probably shade that with a dark brown of some description, add a few white highlights to that. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and trace off these shapes here. And add on some patterned paper. This one, not so much bothered about that one. That one should be underneath the frame. So yeah, let's go ahead and trace off those shapes. And then choose ourselves some paper to actually come on here in the shape of the fan. I won't add in all these little these lines here, I don't think, unless I'm really feeling extra. This fan will be disappearing off behind the border, I would imagine, but I'm gonna bring it in and cover that rose. That's a lot of guesswork there. Very rough estimation of where the actual zigzags would be. Hopefully I'm still on camera there. I do suck at keeping on camera. I think I went off camera at least once in my last video. I do apologise. I don't think it matters whether we go over our dress, and this part I'm just gonna kind of simplify and make it into just a smooth curve there, just to make my life easier when it comes to cutting out the shapes. Let's just go over this one here as well. Back we come to the scrapbooking book of paper here, and one of these more white kind of dominated images is what I'd like to be using for the fans, so they stand out from the black, the mainly black of the background image. We can see there, if that actually came over the top of our background image, I'll just slip that underneath. If that came out over the top of our background image, that would still work, so that one might be a good choice. Let's see. Okay, I've decided on this paper here because when we do slip our black background behind there, this one does stand out and will actually come forward from that. So what we need to do now is take our shapes, trace over the background with the pencil, then again over the front so that we know what shape we want to be cutting out. Then we can cut out the shape from this paper and lay it onto our main image. And for this one here, For this one here, I will just lay that against one of the straight edges so that I can get that straight edge for the bottom of the image and not worry about having to measure or use rulers or anything along those lines. We want this to be quite an easy and fun one today. So we'll go ahead and get those pieces cut out. So we're back with our lady now, and here's our shape that we have cut out just for this fan down the bottom here. There we go, that's covering that quite nicely, I think. So I'll just go ahead and stick that one down with the glue stick, and then I'll go ahead and do the other fan as well. They're all stuck down, and I'm just bringing back some of the line art that we lost a little bit there by going around the outside of these collage bits with the fine line pen, just a uni pen fine liner. Might bring that in to add in this kind of curve here as well. You can see our shape there. That is a little bit off, but once we put on this frame and we have that in the right place where it's covering up all the background that we don't want to be colouring, then we'll see that that is all covered up there, so that is looking okay. It's going to be behind that frame anyways. This arm I'm going to cut around her arm and around the outside of that fan there, so we can actually lift those up and put that over the top of this frame here. But before I go ahead and do that, just cut out around all the bits that I want to be popping over the top of the frame. I'm going to shade this the gold pen a little bit. I've just coloured that in with a gold gel pen, just a Uniball Signo gold gel pen. So what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of a shading. This is a Arteza pencil. This is Cocoa A036. Just doing my lazy gold where I colour with a Sharpie or a gel pen or something like that, gold paint maybe, and then go ahead and just shade everything with a bit of brown, a bit of a dark brown. I don't have a specific one I use, just some kind of a dark brown, anything will do. And then I go in and put some white highlights with the white gel pen. And as I said, I'm not going to go too crazy putting in all the lines from the fan there. I think it will speak enough of being a fan as it is. You can tell it's a fan without going too crazy with the details there. I will try and pop in a few highlights on this gold though. I have kept the style pretty graphic, at least on the bits that I have been working on today. Her hair and the crown and all that kind of stuff. Just to try and keep the style the same sort of throughout it. I'm thinking what I might do is go over that bracelet with a bit of a black something. Maybe some acrylic pen or something. I think that would look a little bit better than the silver I have going on there. So this fan I'm just doing exactly the same as the other one, shading it with the Cocoa Arteza pencil. We do have a ring there with a bit of a gem on it. That will be a black gem. Yeah, I'm definitely trying to keep with this kind of gothic theme that I've got in my head happening, to take it away from the pastel look that was really putting me off finishing the actual picture. So yeah, I'm trying to completely change that as much as possible. That's usually my approach when going with works in progress. Figure out why it was a work in progress and change the bits that I don't like, the bits that are putting me off, the bits that made it a work in progress. There we go, that's looking a little bit better. Not super realistic or detailed, but that's not entirely what I'm going for here, so I'm fairly happy with that. I'll just go ahead and work on a crown here. And I still need to decide what we're going to do with this part of the crown. Hopefully we're on the camera there. There we go, this crown does have another layer of spikes on the other side, so I'll be putting in some shading to show. That is a little bit darker, and I will give these forward spikes a little bit of a shade as well. That's looking okay. We'll give it a few white highlights, especially on that left side, especially on the bits that are at the front. Okay, now before I do any cutting out there, I do need to decide what colour to do this piece of our crown there. Where's that border going to come? roses. I'm thinking maybe a red rose might work there. If it would be on top of that, black and white kind of rose pattern we've got going on. I think maybe if I could find some red roses and bring them in here. Be right back. Okay, while I was off looking through my craft stash, I didn't find any red roses. I did find some of this kind of reddish colour glitter washi tape, so maybe we could go with that. We will be using it like over the top of this black and white sort of background, and looking at that looks as if it should show up quite nicely, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do that band on the crown just with this washi tape. There we go. I'll just add in, see if we can add in a little bit of line art there. And I think with a few little white highlights, we should be good to go with that. And now that I've stuck that on, I'll go ahead and add in this little kind of hair clip type thing we've got going on here with a few more stick-on crystals. Yes, there we go. Now I said I was going to try and make this band here into black, so I'll just dig out my black acrylic marker. See if we can remove these little crystals here. Leave them there for a second. And as we have no silver anywhere else on the picture, I'm just going to go over the top of this silver marker here with this black acrylic marker. We've gone over her band, and we'll put the jewels back on. There we go, that looks so much better to me. Okay, for this ring, we're going to make that a black gem, if I remember rightly. So while I've got that acrylic marker, it does blend in slightly to the gold I've got going on with the fan, but I don't really want to bring in any silver, any more colours unless I really have to. Add a few highlights. We go to this band here as well. Lovely job. Yep, that's looking really gothic like I wanted it to. It seems to be coming together, so fingers crossed this is actually going to work. So what I need to do now is mark out where this border actually comes to, so I can figure out where I have to actually cut my lady, cut around her to be able to have her coming over the edge of this border. So I want to stick down the border and be able to like flip up her head and stick it back down over the top. So we need to go down from there, I'm thinking. About there. All the way around her head to about there. So we need to go from there all the way around her head, all the way around her crown and back down to here, so we can lift her up and then stick her on top of this frame once we've got that stuck down. And while I'm thinking about it, I do need to mark where I need to cut this frame. So from there to there, so that will fit on the page, and we can have our lady cut out and flipping over the top there. I also need to cut out this hand and the fan down the bottom there. This fan I want to have disappearing behind the frame so that we're covering the rows that I didn't really like. The rest of the lady's going to be flipping up over the top, her hand's going to be flipping over the bottom, and I think once we've done that we're getting pretty near done. I think I'll just need to add a few more crystals on her crown, and yeah, I've gone fairly crystal heavy on this one. And if you're planning on colouring anything and sticking on your little crystals, you do need to bear that in mind, that you will be able to feel them through the paper. If you want to colour any of the other pictures in the front of the magazine, then you will need to put a lot of paper in between here so that you don't get too much interference from those crystals in the background there. So now what we need to do is cut around our lady, trim our border, and we'll work from there. So I'm going to slip my cutting mat there. Still needs a good clean, I'm afraid, but I'm going to slip my cutting mat under there. we need to cut all the way around the crown, all the way down to about here where I've marked. So I'm going to go with the craft knife and cut along all the edges here so our lady can actually come out, slip over the top of that border that we've got going on, and we're not losing out on too much of our actual lady. Okay, just stopping to do a little bit of test there with my cutting out to see how this border is actually working, and I've realised I want this little bit of the border here to be sticking out over the top of my lady's hair, but we are having some trouble with these little crystals in the way a little bit. So I'll move that one over slightly. Might have to take a couple of them off completely and just move them to different places. It will take a little bit of wiggling, I think, and sorting things out, but I think, yeah, we can probably make that work just by shifting a few of those crystals around a little bit. I could take them off completely, but I've just moved them to a different place for now. And you'll see as well that I have cut off the little kind of circle bits on the top of these points of the crown, and I have actually managed to snip one of those off completely, but I can go in again and just fill that in with a little bit of gold gel pen, I'm thinking, or even just leave it as is. I mean, it doesn't bother me too much. I'll just add the crystals on top. I actually stick them to the background once my lady is stuck down herself. So I think that's working pretty well so far. Not a lot of the page is actually still visible, but there was not a lot of the page that I was really happy with, to be perfectly honest. I really didn't like those roses in the background. I didn't like the pastel colours it started going with. The dress I do quite like with the glitter there. But as is, I think that's working pretty well. So what I need to do now is to cut around her arm on the bottom here, so we can lift that up and flip that down. And I think we're going to be cutting up to about there. Just a little bit of a mark there so I can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and cut around her arm there so I can actually lift that up and slip that over the top of the actual border once we've stuck that down. We can actually flip up that arm now. I have gone a little bit further up than I did mark, just to be sure that I can actually get done what I want to be done with this background here. So let's try and see how well we can make that work before we trim the background. And her arm will be flipping up. Kind of a little bit awkward, but her arm will be flipping up like that. Her hair will be tucking behind the border there. There we go. Okay, so that is what we are looking at right now. We do need to come down a little bit more on that side, I think. We need to be able to come down a little bit more here, because that's not quite reaching the bottom of the page there. Yeah, we might be able to get away with it. We might be able to get away with that. Okay, yes, that might be working. So now I'm going to just tidy up these edges here and then trim my actual frame, and then we'll get ahead to sticking down the lady. I think I'm actually going to go right the way around this little piece of hair here, because we are running into a few problems with not being able to bring our border down far enough. So I'm just going to simplify this, I think. There we go. We actually have that piece of hair cut out now, and I'm just gonna pop some spare paper under there and see what I can. I might actually end up giving the lady herself a white outline. Kind of a trademark white outline. Okay, there we go. Bar a few finishing touches. We're looking like we're done. So what we need to do now, get rid of the cutting mat for a start. We don't need that anymore. We're going to put glue all over the back of this kind of border that we've cut out there, and we need to put glue on the back of these bits where we've cut them out to be flipped up over the top of our border. We need to put some glue on there, on her hand there behind here. We'll fix up these edges here where the crown didn't quite cut out. And just make sure there's glue all around those edges that we do want to be flipping up. Also, we need to glue the back of our frame here, especially around these fiddly little edges. And this will be tricky, probably a little bit messy, and I might regret making this decision to try and collage my way out of this work in progress here. But this is the idea that was speaking to me, so we're going to go for it. We're going to try and put our frame onto our page. That little crystal was causing a bit too much of a problem, so I've actually taken off that one there. And our frame page, the page we've stuck on top, is actually a little bit too tall, so what we can do is just flip that over. We can just trim it along the top of the page and along the side. I seem to have been a bit overestimating there on what we needed. Or maybe it's just not quite stuck down entirely straight. I don't really mind either way. I need a bit more glue around those edges. Peel that up very slightly, try not to rip it. Add in a little bit more glue here, not quite sticking down. Just trim along this edge as well here. Okay, let's add in the crystals for the top of the crown. I'll just add on a little bit of a point there for the crown. Give it a little bit of a white highlight, so it will look as if yeah, we didn't rip that off at all. Final little crystal. There we go. Oops. Don't stick to my fingers. I think I need to go and wash my hands to get rid of this glue, and I'll be right back. Okay, I found some really kind of sparkly black washi tape here. Can we see all the glitter we've got going on there? That I thought might bring in the glitter that we've got on our dress there. So I'm going to use this to just tidy off the edges, because this line here is a little bit wonky, and that might help disguise that. And as I said, it will bring in the glitter that we've got going on a dress. If we're lucky, if it works, then this should look pretty cool. Let's see. There we go. I figure why not be a little bit extra if I can. Plus with her fan actually just being at a line there, not really continuing down, it does help disguise that fact. Helps it look a little bit better, I think. This is going to be a little bit tricky because we are right on the edge of this paper here. Okay, I like it. I like it. Let's see if adding in the white outline, that will disguise the fact that my cutting here wasn't the best. And it should hopefully make the lady stand out a little bit more from that black background. We go around at least the bits that are coming out over the edge of that border there. Go back in and fill in our line art if we do lose that. I'm going to be calling it there, I think, and I'll zoom us out so that we can see the picture as a whole. I don't want to overwork any more of it because I'm really liking how it looks right now, and I don't want to mess anything up. So I will zoom us out and we'll have a look at the finished picture. Okay, I think I've got most of her on the screen there so we can have an overview of how she's actually looking. And I've got to say, I absolutely love it. Coming from being that really pastel-y page that I really didn't want to finish, and with all those flowers that I really didn't want to colour in, I have to say, yeah, I love it. I think she's turned out super well. I was a bit worried at first, especially right at the beginning. I was thinking, oh, is this going to work? I'm not quite sure this kind of black and white sort of Gothic theme is going to go with this white queen here. But yeah, I think she's really worked out super well. I do love these black and white, like really kind of subdued roses there in the background. It really brings that kind of Gothic sort of feeling to it, I think. And these white kind of dominated patterns here really stand out quite nicely from the black there. I love the red in the background, the way that's working with the kind of grayscale, like almost black background here. I love the glitter in this washi tape. I just love it. I don't know what else to say. Hopefully the process has been as fun for you as it's been for me. I do love getting stuck in with collage and really having a little bit of fun and covering up things that I really don't want to be working on. And really don't be scared of like sticking things in your colouring books and covering up bits that you really don't want to colour, turning pages from something you wouldn't really look at into something that you really enjoy colouring in. I've got to say that there's really not much that I don't like about this one. I'm kind of sad that the red has bled through into a dress here. That's just one kind of minor little setback. Everything else, yeah, I really love it. So yeah, hopefully you've all, as I said, enjoyed it as much as I have, as a little bit of entertainment, maybe a little bonus video this week, because this idea was really speaking to me and I couldn't really get any of the colouring done before I went ahead and actually tried this one. And even though I had my misgivings at first, it's really turned into one of my favourite pictures that I've done this month. So yeah, it just goes to show that however badly you think you've started a page off, you can go ahead and change it a little bit and turn it into something that you really, really love. I hope you've all enjoyed the video, following along with me today, puzzling out how to make this work and getting the idea that I have in my head down onto the paper, I think even better than it was in my head. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, if you have stuck with me all the way through this little endeavour today. Take care, and I'll see you in future videos. Bye!